Patricia Reeves scrolled through her daughter's Instagram with a morning coffee until her thumb froze on a post from Mykonos.
It's the Mary Lynn. David's Mary Lynn. But I have the keys. How is she in Greece?
She zoomed in on the teak deck and brass railings, every detail seared into her memory from David's restoration. The Mary Lynn had sat at the marina for years, untouched since David passed. Patricia still kept the keys in the dock locker. On the screen, her daughter Jennifer lounged on the deck, a glass of wine in hand, sunset painting the Greek sea gold. A cold dread filled Patricia as she scrolled further. Photos of the hull, the nameplate, unmistakable.
She sold it. Jennifer sold the Mary Lynn to fund her honeymoon without telling me.
Her hands trembled as she set down the coffee cup, the ceramic clattering against the saucer.
David trusted me with that boat. It's not just property, it's his soul.
With a shaking finger, she opened her phone's contacts, ready to dial Jennifer's number. Patricia pressed call. On the second ring, Jennifer's voice came through, breezy and untroubled.
Mom, can you believe this sunset? We're on a boat. It's insane. What's up?
Jennifer, that boat. It's your father's Mary Lynn. How is that possible?
Oh, that. Yeah, I sold it. We needed the money for the honeymoon. It was just sitting there.
You sold the Mary Lynn? Without telling me? To fund a vacation?
Vacation? It's our honeymoon, Mom, and you never sail. Dad would have wanted me to enjoy life.
Your father spent 6 years restoring that boat. He trusted us to protect it.
It's just a boat. I got $15,000. Anyway, gotta go. Dinner? We'll talk later.
The line went dead. Patricia stood frozen. The phone pressed to her ear long after the click. $15,000. David's 6-year labor sold for a discount honeymoon. Patricia sank onto the sofa, a sob finally breaking through as the emptiness of the house closed in. A memory surfaced. David sanding the teak, his hands calloused, his smile patient and kind.
He spent every weekend on that boat. Said it was his therapy, his sanctuary.
She could almost hear his laughter, feel the sea spray from their sunset cruises decades ago.
He trusted me with those keys. And I let our daughter sell his soul for a honeymoon.
Patricia opened the kitchen drawer and stared at the worn brass key ring, marked dock locker. David's voice echoed in her mind, promising they would sail together in their old age.
I have to see the empty slip for myself. I have to know what's been lost.
She grabbed her coat and car keys, a fierce resolve cutting through the grief. 5 minutes later, she was behind the wheel, driving toward the marina, gripping David's keys. The marina parking lot was half empty. Patricia parked and walked toward the dock, the keys heavy in her pocket. The Mary Lynn's slip was unmistakable, a gap of dark water where the teak and brass should have gleamed.
It was just empty water. The Mary Lynn was nowhere.
She unlocked the dock locker with trembling fingers. The brass key turned easily. Inside, David's spare life jackets and coiled lines hung exactly as he left them, but the boat was missing. A deep voice interrupted her spiral. "Mrs. Reeves, is the boat all right?"
I thought the Mary Lynn was winterized. Why is the slip empty?
My daughter sold it, Captain Alexander. Without telling me, she spent the money on a honeymoon.
Without your signature. That's not legal. Come with me. We need to check the records.
He took her by the arm and led her toward the harbor office, his face set in a grim frown. Inside the cluttered harbor office, Alexander pulled a thick binder from the shelf and flipped to the Mary Lynn's registration.
The boat was titled in a marital trust, Patricia. Transfer requires both spouses' signatures.
But David died 11 years ago. How could anyone sign for him?
Alexander slid a document across the desk, a power of attorney with Patricia's name forged on it.
That signature isn't mine. Not even close. Jennifer did this. I never signed this. I have never seen this document before in my life.
Then Jennifer committed fraud. This is a criminal act, Patricia. International.
He leaned back, his weathered face hardening with decades of maritime authority. and personal loyalty.
I am calling my contact at the Maritime Authority. They need to flag the vessel now.
Patricia nodded, the weight of betrayal slowly transforming into a grim hope for justice. Alexander dialed a number from memory, his knuckles white on the vintage receiver.
This is Captain Alexander. I am reporting a fraudulent sale of a vessel with forged documentation.
Patricia edged closer, straining to hear the official's voice crackle through the line.
The Mary Lynn, a 42-foot sailboat currently in Mykonos under a voided title and forged power of attorney.
A tense pause. Then the official confirmed the boat's location matched a recent port entry in the Greek islands.
They'll flag the vessel with Interpol. The Greek Coast Guard can intercept it within 48 hours.
2 days, that's all? Is there any chance they'll miss her?
The harbor master in Mykonos owes me a favor. They'll find her.
Alexander hung up and squeezed Patricia's hand briefly, a comrade's promise. Patricia left the marina, exhaustion and a fragile hope battling in her chest as she drove home. While Patricia drove home, Jennifer lifted a champagne glass at a candlelit clifftop restaurant in Mykonos.
To us, and to my mom's old boat. 15 grand and zero hassle. Easiest money I ever made.
The man across from her, her new husband, shifted in his chair, his smile not reaching his eyes.
She's been hoarding it for years, like a shrine. Dad would have wanted us to enjoy life, not dust.
Later, back on the deck of the Mary Lynn, she posed against the brass railing, the golden hour favoring her.
This is the life. The boat is finally being used for something that matters, our happiness.
She posted the image with hashtags. Mykonos nights, sailboat living, blessed.
This is just the beginning. We deserve this kind of life. Every single day.
Night fell, and Jennifer peeled off her dress, diving into the warm Aegean from the yacht's swim platform. 7 time zones west. Patricia sat alone in the dark, watching the clock while Jennifer felt completely untouchable. The phone rang at 2 a.m., jerking Patricia awake. Alexander's voice was heavy. The vessel is flagged, but the Coast Guard won't move until dawn. Another day.
A whole day. What if they sail out of port?
The captain sighed. They'll be shadowed, but we need local authority to board. After the call, she went to the garage and opened a box of old photos. She found a faded snapshot. Jennifer at 8 on the Mary Lynn, life jacket too big, smile bright.
How did that child turn into someone who could sell her father's boat?
She shut the box and returned to the living room, her resolve hardening. She sat in the dark, phone in hand, watching the hours crawl toward dawn, half a world away. The Mary Lynn bobbed at anchor, its net tightening. The next morning, Nikos Petridis received a call from a lawyer friend about the Interpol flag on his new yacht.
The vessel is flagged for fraud. I paid good money for this boat.
He found Jennifer lounging in the cockpit, her smile vanishing when she saw his face.
We need to discuss the title. Show me the paperwork.
Everything's in order. I sold it legally. My mother signed the power of attorney.
My friend at the harbor says the original owner never signed. The vessel is flagged.
That's absurd. She's old. She probably forgot. These things happen.
Forged documents aren't things that happen. I'll call the Coast Guard myself.
Jennifer's face drained of color as Nikos turned away, his trust shattered. For the first time since arriving, Jennifer felt the fragile luxury around her begin to splinter. Nikos stood on the deck, phone pressed to his ear, as his lawyer confirmed the title was void.
The sale was fraudulent. You are going to explain everything to the authorities.
Jennifer ducked below deck and dialed her husband, her voice a tight whisper.
There's a mix-up with the boat paperwork. Just stay put. I'll handle it.
Thousands of miles away, Patricia walked to the marina in the cold pre-dawn. Unable to sleep, she stood looking at the empty slip, the water dark and still, as if holding its breath. Her phone buzzed. Alexander's voice was urgent.
The Greek Coast Guard is moving at first light. They'll board the Mary Lynn in Mykonos.
Patricia closed her eyes, a tear slipping free, and nodded to the empty water.
Bring her home, David, please. Bring her home.
As Patricia's whispered prayer hung in the cold air, the Greek Coast Guard cut through the Mykonos dawn. Jennifer leaned on the Mary Lynn's railing, a coffee cup warming her hands, her face still soft with sleep. The thrum of engines made her turn. A rigid inflatable, with Coast Guard insignia cut toward them, 2 officers swung aboard, their boots heavy on the teak that David had restored by hand.
What is this? We haven't done anything wrong.
Nikos climbed from the cabin, his linen shirt wrinkled, his expression shifting from confusion to cold fury. The lead officer unfolded a document and read the formal declaration. The vessel was fraudulently sold and now impounded.
You lied to me. The boat wasn't yours to sell.
Jennifer's coffee slipped from her hand, shattering on the teak as she shrieked that there was a mistake. The Coast Guard secured the Mary Lynn, its brass nameplate glinting in the rising sun as Jennifer collapsed, her honeymoon in ruins. On the quay, Nikos exploded in rapid Greek, his fist shaking, demanding the return of his money.
You spent my money on this vacation? Where is it?
Jennifer cowered, her voice a stutter, admitting the cash was gone, spent on hotels, flights, champagne.
It's all gone. Every last euro. He's going to destroy me.
Her husband emerged from the crowd, his face gray, and asked in a dead voice what she had done. He pulled away when she reached for him. His trust evaporated, and walked back into the milling tourists. Jennifer grabbed her phone and dialed Patricia, but the line rang and rang.
Pick up, Mom. Please, I need you.
She called again and again, each time the call dropping to voicemail. By noon, she sat alone on a bench near the ferry terminal, luggage beside her, realizing no one was coming. Patricia's phone screen lit up on the kitchen counter. 10 missed calls, all from Jennifer. She tapped the voicemail, and Jennifer's voice spilled out, raw and sobbing.
Mom, please. I made a mistake. They took the boat. I have nothing.
Each word cut, but Patricia remembered David's careful signature on the marital trust documents.
She spent his legacy on champagne. I can't save her from this.
She set the phone down and dialed Captain Alexander. He answered on the first ring, his voice steady and sure.
The Mary Lynn is impounded, Patricia. She'll be returned to the marina by next week.
Relief broke through, sharp and clean, then hardened into cold resolve. She pulled out the lake house keys, her thumb tracing the worn metal, and knew exactly what she had to do next. 20 minutes later, Patricia pulled up to the lake house, its dark windows reflecting the fading light. From the trunk, she retrieved a new deadbolt kit and a screwdriver, her movements deliberate.
Jennifer used this place as a free hotel for years. That ends now.
The old lock came off easily. She slid the new cylinder into place and tightened the screws.
David left this house to me. She won't break his trust again.
She held up her phone and photographed the shiny new deadbolt, proof of the changed lock. Then she typed a short message and pressed send. You made your choice. I've made mine. She drove away without looking back, the lake house shrinking in the mirror. The house sat dark and locked, a silent sentinel of her new boundary. Hours later, Jennifer stood at a ticket counter in the Mykonos airport, a borrowed credit card trembling in her hand.
I can't even afford a full ticket. How did I fall this far?
Her phone pinged. A text from Patricia. You made your choice. I've made mine. Below it, a photo of a new deadbolt on the lake house door.
She changed the locks. I have nowhere to go.
A sob tore out of her, raw and ugly, drawing glances from passing travelers. Her husband stood 10 feet away, his suitcase in hand, and looked at her as if she were a stranger. He turned and walked toward the gate without a word, his wedding ring glinting under the harsh lights. Jennifer followed, boarding the plane in a daze, knowing no one would be waiting when she landed. The flight home was a blur of stale air and distant hum. Jennifer slumped in a coach seat, her husband silent beside her.
She changed the locks. She meant every word.
Hours later, a taxi dropped her at the lake house, its familiar porch now cold and unwelcoming. With shaking fingers, she slid her key into the lock, but it jammed against new pins, unmoving.
No, no, no. She really did this.
She pounded on the door with both fists, her screams echoing across the quiet lake.
Mom, open the door. Please, I am sorry.
Inside the dark house, Patricia stood by the window, her silhouette still and composed. She walked to the door, unlatched the new deadbolt, and pulled it open. Jennifer stumbled back, her face raw with tears, as mother and daughter faced each other across the threshold.
You forged my signature on legal documents and sold your father's boat.
I just needed the money. It was just sitting there. You never used it.
That boat was in a marital trust. David's signature required both of ours. You committed fraud.
She thrust the forged paper forward, red circles highlighting the falsified signature.
This is a federal crime, Jennifer. David would have spent years in prison if he'd signed this alive.
I know. I am sorry. I didn't think about any of that. I just wanted a beautiful life for once.
You sold your father's soul for $15,000 and a Greek sunset. Now you learn what that costs.
Jennifer's mouth opened, but no words came.
The locks stay changed. The boat comes home. This is your consequence.
The silence that followed was heavier than any scream. Patricia stepped back inside, grasped the edge of the door, and closed it with a soft click. Through the door, Jennifer's sobs grew muffled, then shattered into wails.
She really locked me out. Mom actually locked me out.
For a long time, she sat slumped against the door, her breath fogging the wood. Eventually, she pushed herself up, grabbed her suitcase, and stumbled toward the road. Inside, Patricia rested her forehead against the closed door, her hand still on the deadbolt.
This is what protecting him looks like. I hope he understands.
A single tear slid down her cheek and dropped onto the polished wood floor. Outside, the taxi's tail lights flickered, then disappeared into the night. Patricia straightened her spine, wiped her face, and walked to the kitchen to make tea alone. 3 days passed in quiet routine, the lake house empty of all but memory. Patricia opened a drawer in David's old workshop and lifted out a small brass porthole.
He saved this from the Mary Lynn's first wreck. Said it reminded him that broken things could become beautiful again.
She carried it down to the dock, the wooden planks warm under the late afternoon sun. She sat on the edge, legs dangling over the water, the porthole resting in her lap.
I didn't just protect a boat. I protected his honor.
She ran her thumb over the glass and brass, feeling the tiny scratches from decades of salt and love. The sun sank lower, painting the lake in gold and rose, and a great stillness settled over her.
The Mary Lynn will sail again, but not without me.
And for the first time in days, a genuine smile touched her face as the sun vanished. Patricia rose and walked toward the empty boathouse, the porthole still cradled in her arms. Inside, the old wooden walls, a small brass plaque caught the last amber light through the window. The engraving read, Mary Lynn. Every plank a love story. Patricia reached out, her fingers tracing each letter, as if tracing a memory.
We'll bring her back someday, David. I promise.
The camera drew back through the window, over the silent dock, to the lake now painted in shades of violet and silver. The Mary Lynn may have sailed far, but her soul never left this shore. And in the stillness, a promise floated on the breeze, a future voyage waiting. Patricia stepped out onto the dock one last time, the brass porthole now resting where her heart beat truest, and a single star emerged above the tree line, steady and sure, like a compass point home. 6,000 miles from Patricia's lake, the Mary Lynn floated in the Mykonos harbor, no longer a pawn in a broken scheme. Dawn light gilded her teak and brass, and a new nameplate caught the breeze, its letters freshly engraved. On the dock, a young man and woman stood hand in hand, looking at the boats with the shy hope of new dreamers. She tugged his sleeve and pointed at the Mary Lynn, her voice soft with wonder. He nodded, and they both smiled at the little ship that had weathered so much. A harbor master waved from the pier, signaling that the Mary Lynn was cleared for her next adventure. The tugboat gently eased her out of the dock, and her sails, still furled, seemed to whisper a promise. The young couple watched, their faces lit by the rising sun, as if they already saw themselves at the helm. And in that moment, the legacy of David Reeves became not a possession, but a story waiting for new authors. Fade to black, fade in on Patricia's hands, folding a crisp white sail on a bright morning. She ran her palm over the canvas, feeling the threads that would catch the wind.
David always said, "A sail isn't cloth, it's a promise to the sea."
Cut to a dock where a young girl, no older than 8, sat cross-legged with a piece of rope. Patricia knelt beside her, guiding small fingers through the loops of a bowline knot.
"See? The rabbit comes out of the hole around the tree and back down."
The girl laughed, and Patricia's smile mirrored the remembered joy of teaching her own child long ago. Shortly after, the camera watches Patricia haul on a halyard, a small sail rising against a soft blue sky. Her strength surprised her, the motion still in her bones from decades of sailing at David's side. Some treasures aren't made of wood and brass. They're built from love, and they never truly break.